everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Drone Wars. Here in front of us you can see the board that's ongoing. The Pirate Empire has most of the board currently, but it seems like the Federation is putting up a pretty decent fight at trying to get some land back or trying to stand up against the Pirate Empire. We're going to see what happens in this episode and see if the Federation is able to make further pushes or if the Pirate Empire is just going to completely surround the other factions. Alright, so the Federation, for their actions, the first actions that they've decided to do, they're going to focus less on the pirates and more on the more immediate threat that's kind of splitting their empire in half here. They're going to focus on Delta Shipyards. So they're building a really powerful fleet up here. 2 carriers and some extra fighters. So that's a really powerful fleet here that's going to be used against Delta Shipyards. And then their second action, they've decided to just build another fleet of fighters. I believe that fleet of fighters is here. I'm assuming the reason why they made that fleet is so they can expand, taking some of these empty territories around here. So if the Pirate Empire doesn't do anything about that fleet, then that fleet's just going to wander around and cause havoc over here. And then the Federation, for the third action, they're actually going to go on the offensive here and go after Delta Shipyards. So they're moving their fleet that was defending the Reach Ocean here. They're moving up here to take on this powerful Delta Shipyards fleet. This with a battleship. So this is going to be an interesting fight. This is actually happening in the rings of the gas giant here. So this is going to be an interesting space battle. Well, here we are at this gas giant. Over here we can see the Federation fleet is about ready for battle here. And they're going to be taking on Delta Shipyards, which is all the way over here in the distance. Here's their fleet. It's going to be an interesting battle. They're just out here in the rings of this planet. So we're going to go ahead and declare war, and we're going to see how well this goes for either faction here. I don't think we've had a proper battle in space in this season, so this is going to be really interesting. So you can see almost immediately all these ships are arranging themselves for battle. Small collisions here. You can see that the battleship here is definitely moving forward. Just teleport my character a little bit closer to the middle of the battlefield here so everything stays loaded. Now all of these ships are firing their barrages from a distance. As long as they keep their distance, they're going to be really good at taking out these other ships. But all these Delta Shipyards ships currently are close range ships, so they need to get closer to do more damage. You can see that all the cannon fire and missiles are proving to be lethal here. But, you know, they are going to be able to do some damage against the Corvette at least. Definitely a lot of missiles being fired around here. These ships are just charging through the battlefield. There's definitely chunks of this ship coming apart, but it's holding on pretty tightly and trying to do as much damage as it can from a distance. And of course it is firing some torpedoes to try to do even more damage. I actually don't even know if this fleet has any decent point defense or not. Well, there is some point defense. As you can see, that torpedo was shot away. So I think a lot of missiles being fired out here to try taking out these fighters before they get too close. These corvettes are doing everything they can to take out these fighters as well. They're also trying to fight off the other corvette in the distance. Yeah, here it is. It's being completely covered in missile here. There's some cannon shots coming in as well. Federation fighters over here are proving to be pretty difficult as they are doing everything they can to take out that battleship. The armor on the rear of the ship is definitely protecting it from those fighters. Then again, it is taking quite a few hits here. I think most of the damage is coming from that enemy corvette down there. I mean, all this long-range cannon fire is definitely doing some damage, but its armor is holding up pretty well against all of it. Mainly it's just that burst fire cannon and those fighters. Definitely a lot of shots going around here. If the other corvettes can get close enough, then this corvette might not be a problem. There's a lot of cannon shots going back and forth. Let's see how these ships are looking. Battleship seems to be doing pretty well. Out here the carrier is also holding on fairly well. Don't think it has a big scratch yet. And of course the cruiser should be around here somewhere as well. Most likely staying back and firing missiles. You see these fighters are still doing everything they can. So you can see the carrier from here, we can see the corvette, we can see the battleship, you can see fighters. There was a cruiser around here somewhere, and I believe the cruiser is nearby. It won't be that hard to find it. There it is. Oh, it's actually falling away from the battle here, into the planet. So that's unfortunate on their part. Still a lot of cannons being fired here. I did see some torpedoes actually making it through, so... yeah, without that cruiser, these ships are a little bit defenseless. This battleship was definitely trying to get closer, but it's taking a lot of hits. If he doesn't pull off those evasive maneuvers, he's not going to have a chance of surviving here. In fact, it's just about 40% health now. And the other corvettes should be around unless they've already been defeated by the enemies here. We could also just quickly look for them. Let's see, the island should be nearby. There it is. It's definitely still around and doing a lot of damage. Definitely going after the rear engines of the enemy ship here, and to see that some of these thrusters are completely gone now. So this ship is going to have to rely on some of its supplementary side thrusts, if it even still has some. Seems like some of these side thrusters are damaged, so maybe. I'm not quite sure. Right now there are weapons being fired both forward and backwards. I think there's then a hull breach in the front here, so now the ship is going to take even more damage. It's definitely still some fighters doing whatever they can here. I actually don't even know if the frigate is still alive. I know there was a frigate in this battle. It's still around, just falling down to the planet's gravity. Surprised this battleship is still holding on. It's doing whatever damage it can towards the carrier here, but this carrier is still holding on. It's definitely taking some of its own damage, but it is holding pretty well. In the meantime, this battleship over here seems like it has taken small amounts of damage, but nothing too critical. There's still a lot of missiles going around trying to deal with all these fighters. These fighters should be nearly completely dealt with at this point. That Corvette is still doing whatever it can. Definitely some shots trying to hit the Corvette back here. There it is, off in the distance. The armor on this ship has held up pretty well, and it's still doing a lot. This battleship is continuously trying to get closer to the other ships. As you can see, this battleship is now within close range. It's definitely taking quite a bit more damage. It is rapidly moving backwards, trying to fire everything it can towards the enemy. There are just entire chunks coming off of the ship at this point. In fact, the entire front of it seems to be completely ripped off now. Probably a collision down on the planet there. This constant bombardment is kind of just leaving nothing left of this ship as it's just being torn apart. I mean, there's only so much this ship can do at this point. More collisions on the planet down below. Yikes. I can just go and see how these ships have turned out. I believe that might be the cruiser hitting the ground here. Yeah, that cruiser has been completely eliminated, hitting the gas giant there. And that frigate, it appears the frigate is trying to rejoin the battle in one way or another. It might be returning. So maybe it isn't completely lost. In the meantime, these ships out here are still doing whatever they can. There's a lot of cannon fire being launched towards the remains of this battleship. At this point, I don't even think this battleship can still be considered alive. It is falling apart. No, it's definitely still alive. That's a surprise. Just trying to shake off whatever damage it has, and then trying to move with the remaining thrusters. I think it barely has any. Yeah, it barely has any thrust left. It's still firing whatever it can. Where is... We'll see what ships are remaining in the other fleet here. See, a Viper there has gone down, this Viper's down, the Phantom is going down, and of course these fighters are also down. Yeah, I don't think this battleship is really lasting much longer. We'll just take a look at the remaining ships left in the Federation's fleet here. So of course their aero frigate's still alive somehow. Their carrier is still there. Lots of their fighters are pretty much eliminated here. But that's fine because the fighters can be replaced by the carrier. The Iron Wing is still alive, and of course the battleship is still alive. So the only ship they've lost was their cruiser. So that is a victory for the Federation. Alright, with the end of that battle, that's about it for the Federation, and now we're moving on to Delta Shipyard's turn. So, Delta Shipyard has their 3 actions, and they're going to use all 3 of their actions. Their first action, which is kind of disappointing, they decide to take one of their very weak fleets from the Taralis City over here. They moved it over to take on the fleets over here, and because it was just entirely corvettes and fighters, they did not even stand a chance at all, so we're just not going to include that in the video. Their second action is actually a little bit better. What they've decided to do is that they've actually finished off the new Galactic Alliance. They realized that this world is free for the taking, so they moved their fleet from there down there. And, you know, now the new Galactic Alliance is no longer a part of the board here. Now it's just the 3 major factions left here. And of course, the Delta Shipyards now has a much larger income since they took over that planet. Now, the last action that Delta Shipyards is going to take is that they realize that their fleet here is in huge danger from the Empire's fleet here. So rather than losing that fleet, they're actually going to go ahead and use that fleet to attack this planet here, which was recently taken over. And they're going to try to take on this powerful Federation fleet. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything, but they do have a broadsword here, so they might allow them to take out 1 or 2 ships, but more likely than not, they might get wiped out. We'll find out. Well, here we are again, and this time the Federation is on the defensive. So here you can see the Federation fleet. They don't have their cruiser because they lost in the previous battle, but here are the remaining ships, and they have their fighters restocked. Over here is the invading fleet by Delta Shipyards. You can see they got a pretty decent lineup of ships here. I don't think they're going to win, but they might actually be able to take down 1 or 2 ships. since they do have that missile cruiser. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to successfully pull that off, but, you know, maybe. They might have a chance. Here's to hoping they can actually do enough damage. You see there are missiles being exchanged here. Those will do some damage, but in the meantime these are going after other targets. Yes, I will. It seems here that the missiles haven't done all too much damage, and the point defenses are actually working here. These missiles are definitely hitting. If the shields on this ship go down, those torpedoes are actually going to do some serious damage, so they need to take out that cruiser as soon as possible. So you can see that the other ships are moving in very quickly to try taking out the cruiser. But its thin profile, the thin profile of this cruiser is definitely proven to be a challenge. And of course, all of the all those railguns are definitely doing their thing as well. Those fighters are definitely doing a good job though. The corvettes are doing whatever they can to help take out these fighters from a distance. We might have actually taken out the AI already. Now this cannon fire is coming in, and that's going to be lethal. Here comes all the fighters again. These fighters are attacking from all sides, and they're just going to rip that cruiser apart. In the meantime, all the other ships out here are just firing whatever they can with their long-range weapons. The carrier here seems to be perfectly fine. Its shields managed to save from most of the shots that were coming in. And that's a lot of damage. That cruiser is just being torn apart. I think the other ships in the back here, they're having their own struggles. You can see these corvettes here are doing everything they can to take out that these fighters. Once that cruiser has been reduced to atoms, they're going to go after the other ships here, of which there aren't many left. Okay, now there's fighters going after the corvettes over here. Yep, these corvettes better be careful because now the fighters are going after them, and they have some armor to be able to hold it off, but if it takes too much, it's definitely going to explode. So that's not great. There they go, just tearing those fighters apart. Yep, these corvettes are definitely doing everything they can to stay within the fight. These remaining fighters are definitely doing a lot of damage on their own as well. So now these corvettes are kind of just keeping their distance around here. The other larger ships should be coming in this direction as well, somewhat soon. Yep, as you can see, they have definitely gotten some attention. It's definitely not a good thing for this corvette once it realizes that there is a much more dangerous target at a distance. Luckily, these corvettes are actually small enough to avoid these larger cannons for the most part. And their agility definitely does make up for it as well. Yep, I can see the rest of the Federation fleet over there is actually slowly moving in this direction. And this corvette is doing a pretty good job at luring them away. Maybe the other corvette in the distance might be able to do something to help out. Okay, this one's still after a piece of debris out here. But once that gets out of his range, he should come back in this direction, hopefully. Or he's just going to completely annihilate whatever's left of this. If there's even anything left. Yep, he's now realized that there are much more dangerous targets off in that direction. Just carefully moving over in that direction. Doesn't want to get their attention immediately, because that's not safe. This other corvette over here is not handling particularly well. Seems the enemy corvette over there is actually able to hit it. Thus the turret is a lot more accurate. So that corvette's basically been eliminated, and there's only one more out there, which should be slowly on approach. Okay, well, it's not quite close enough to the battle to actually see any of the other ships. So I'll go ahead and just move it a little bit closer. Maybe about here will be close enough for it to actually jump in. And it's immediately going after fighter debris, I think. Well, either way, I don't think Delta Shipyards is going to win this fight. The Federation has already proven to have completely outdone their fleet, so we're just going to go back to the board and update it there. I don't think there was any major losses on the Federation side aside from some fighters. Alright, we're back to the board, and there's some more interesting things going on here. So, the Pirate Empire, they've decided not to go straight in to attack the other fleets around the place. They're taking a different approach. So, well, sort of. Their first thing that they've decided to do is they've decided to actually move one of their fleets over and capture another planet that was unguarded. That happened right over here, I believe. Yeah, so they've just taken over a Federation world pretty simply. That also cuts this part of the Federation away from the rest, so that's kind of a problem. And of course that also splits Delta Shipyards simultaneously. So they've successfully split both of them in a single move. The second thing they've decided to do, they had a fleet that was entirely fighters, and they didn't like that, so they've sent that fleet off and over here to just get rid of it. So that fleet went against a fortress world and lost pretty badly. All those fighters are gone. But they've used their extra fleet slot to go ahead and build up a new, much more powerful and scary fleet all the way over here. So that way they can counter the Federation's movements over here. At least try to hold this corner a little bit better. So as you can see right here on Europa, they've decided to build just another super carrier fleet with lots of battleships and other things here. So yeah, the Pirate Empire is pretty loaded and just ready to eliminate the rest of the factions here. But the other factions do still, they're still a threat to the Pirate Empire, since the Pirate Empire can't defend area, like the whole area simultaneously. If the Federation can pull their cards just right, they might actually be able to use their fleet over there as a leverage to expand out over here. And then Delta Shipyards can do the same exact thing. They can just expand this way without having to worry about pirate fleets. At least until some of the fleets that are up and around here move back over here. Or if those fleets get defeated, maybe they might just build another fleet over there and use it to counter these fleets. Who knows? But for now, we're just going to see how it goes in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to join us in Season 2, there is a Discord link in the description where that actually allows you to participate with your own faction in these battles. Well, that's something that will happen in Season 2. Without further ado, that's the end of the video, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.